actually think that it is insane that as adults, we have to ask other adults if we can take time off to live the life that we want to live. That is what working in 9 to 5 is. That is what it is like to ask for a vacation. I can't believe that I was in the corporate world for 5 years. Like, you will never catch me working in 9 to 5 ever again. Like, you're telling me as an adult, I have to ask another adult for permission to take my vacation, my time off to live my life. No, thank you.
The fact that I have to make a presentation, I have to have a meeting about slides that I have to make for a meeting. And then I have to have another meeting to show people the slides for that meeting, to make sure we're all aligned on the slides for the meeting. And then we go to the meeting, and then we have a meeting after the meeting to talk about the meeting and the to-dos that came from that meeting. Then we do some of the to-dos, and then we have an alignment meeting to align on if the to-dos are being done. And I just don't care anymore, and I don't want to do one more presentation.
Honestly, I do not know what is stable about a corporate job right now. Like, maybe what is stable about it might be the steady layoffs that you know is definitely coming every single time. But anyway, we're gonna be checking out these videos about corporate jobs and how a lot of people are saying that it's like gives the illusion of stability, because corporate jobs are known to be like the stable jobs. You have a stable life, you know, you're just living your life, you know, a corporate normal lifestyle. But then at the end of the day, people actually bringing up conversations, the real conversation about how this is an illusion, the stability that you're talking about, because of some of the problems that come with this. Not saying that it's absolutely bad for you to have a corporate job, but it's just pointing out some things, because there's always a good and bad part of things. But before we get right into this video and check it out, please make sure you click the like button. It helps with the algorithm, and I appreciate that so much. Let's get right into this video.
I keep seeing videos of people like getting laid off, and it just has me thinking, like, in today's society, we are sold this idea that the goal is to get a stable job, to reap X, Y, and Z benefits from stable job, you know, get X amount of vacation days, maybe climb the ladder. But when you truly think about it, stability is an illusion that they sell us, because I think we confuse stability with predictability. And what I mean by that is, to an extent, you can predict, you know, what you will get paid in 2 weeks, in a month, or whatever. You can predict how many days of vacation you will get, but really you can't even predict that you will walk in the next day and have that same job. To a 100% degree, you cannot predict that. And I think that is sold to us by people who are higher than us, because they don't want us to be up there with them. They want us to remain down here. All of our desires and our goals remain in stability, but it's an illusion. It's not real. And I can go on and on about this topic, but I say that just to say, like, the true value that you will bring will be correlated in the skill sets that you have. So soft skills, hard skills. And I know not everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. Obviously, like, some people, I understand the need and the want for predictability. Obviously, as a mother, I understand, but the true value that you will bring to any company or your own business will be in the skill sets that you have. And yeah, I just say, don't stress yourself out over a job that you don't even know will be there tomorrow. Remember that you are the prize.
My job has a 15-minute meeting every single morning to talk about what we did yesterday and what we're going to do today for each person's task. That way, everybody is up to date on things that are being done on the team, okay? It takes 15 minutes max. There's like 7 of us, and we skip right through it. Everybody's up to date. We get the point. Middle management talks for 2 to 3 hours in this meeting. It is genuinely making me lose my mind. And I'm missing important information, because somewhere in the 2 to 3 hours of meaningless word talking, it's like they're trying to hit word counts, somebody will say something important. And I won't hear it because I've already zoned out, because my active listening skill does not extend for 120 to 180 minutes. Shut the fuck up. Just say what needs to be said and leave. You do not need to hit a word count for the doctoral thesis. And because we have 4 middle management managers sitting in this meeting, they all take turns trying to, like, get their piece of the talking cake in. It's insane. We have a new manager. I'll give you an example. He was like, all right, the new year started. And he was like, thanks for, you know, helping me transition into leading this team, whatever. And it was a long ass thank you. It was longer than a fucking, like, Oscar award winning speech. It's insane. It's like a graduation speech. He gives it. And then his manager is like, yeah, you know what? I want to thank you too. Takes just as long to say thank you. And then an unrelated project manager is also like, you know what? I'm going to thank you too. Takes just as long. And then the fourth manager, thank you, just as long. Are we at fucking Thanksgiving? Why are we talking for so long? Send him an email. Say, hey, good job. Thanks for stepping up. And then shut the fuck up. This 15-minute meeting, I mean, just the thank you part was 20 minutes. How do you thank someone for 20 minutes? I'm Jesus.
Okay, so one of my favorite creators on here, Holly Jama, she's documenting how she left her corporate job, and she worded something that I struggled to word for so long because around over a year ago, there's so much lore that happened between then, but let's just say that I had a corporate internship that was going to be a full-time offer. It was 6 figures, but my time at this internship was so spiritually, emotionally, and mentally draining on me. And when I tried to tell people, like, I don't know if I want to take this offer, everyone's like, it's 6 figures, you should take the fucking job. And no shade, like, you're basically telling me that you would tap dance, you would sell your soul to a corporate job. And I feel empowered to make this video now because am I the only one that thinks that, like, corporate provides the illusion of stability? Because when not even spiritually, but I think that corporate jobs give you the illusion of stability because they're emotionally draining, they're spiritually draining. Even for me, as someone who's creative, like the ritual of going to a desk for 8 hours, smiling when I don't want to smile, performing in ways that are not regular to my nervous system, that adds up over time. And I remember working my last internship, having this intuitive feeling the whole summer that, like, don't take this job, don't take this job, don't take this job. But everyone was like, take the job because it's the most money and the economy's bad, da, da, da. But in a weird way, things happened so that I couldn't even take the job anyways. But I'm so glad I didn't because I realized that during that summer, I was making the most money financially. Like, I was making $41 an hour, but I also had the most energetic leaks ever. Random injuries, car issues, my journals. When I look at my journals when I was working corporate jobs, oh my God, I didn't know how I didn't go into a psych ward. But I want to say that I think that corporate long-term gives you the illusion of stability because, like I said earlier in the video, sitting at a desk and being fake for 40 hours a week, that shit, like, your body keeps score. Like, your body recognizes that. And especially as a Black woman in corporate, you're expected to kind of swallow disrespect and let it sit in your body. Also, this is going to be a little bit vain, but I was really fucking ugly when I was working a corporate job. Like, I looked so fucking ugly and disgusting. Inflamed. And I knew long term that this was not a safe path for me because I think the trick is that you see the amount of money you're making and you think you're stable, but you're not. Because I think people, especially on this app, people hear a dollar amount attached to money. And this is a quote that I made up. Numbers don't lie, but they can trick you. Like, yes, you're making 6 figures at this job, but the value of that 6 figures is your mental health, your creative energy. I'm spiritual. I believe that it comes at the cost of your creative energy because I had no inspiration or energy to create at all when I was working a corporate job. And for me, as someone who dances, I write, like, I love to just make art as a practice for my wellness. Like, that shit, like, I just can't see a life where I'm not doing that. And if even in that short spurt of time I was already having like random issues, and I would say that, like, this felt a little bit spiritual, like God or the universe was telling me to get out. But, like, even if I still stayed there, like, I think over time, like, even the fact of, like, that ritual, what good is all that money and what good is all the money I'm saving for this corporate job if I have a health problem 5 to 10 years from now, and God knows how fucking expensive healthcare is? All that money is gone. So what's the stability? Not only that, as a Black woman in corporate, your stability is in the hands of someone who may misread you. And when they misread you, your job is at stake. Because that's what happened to me. If I wasn't enthusiastic enough, if I wasn't tap dancing my feet and entertaining people in the office, it's, oh, she's not a good employee, she's incompetent. That's not stability, okay? Like, even though I have not worked a corporate job since, I think that I've developed so much more internal stability. Like, even on this page, like, I create and I post for fun because I have internal stability and I don't need to, this is going to be controversial, no shade to anyone that works a corporate job, but I don't need to rely on a paycheck every 2 weeks to feel stable. Like, I know if there's an emergency, I am stable enough in myself to know that I can handle it, because that, not being in corporate forces you to teach that skill. And if you're in corporate and you suddenly get laid off, you are so used to you're so used to getting paid to perform in inauthentic ways that if an emergency strikes, your nervous system is just hijacked. You know what I'm saying? Like, corporate jobs hijack your sense of stability by giving you the illusion. It's a spiritual, y'all. It gives you the illusion of stability. Like, yes, you might see this amount of money in your page. Not saying that this is like be entrepreneur and quit corporate. It works for some people, but in the large scheme of things, it's very much a get in, get out thing. It's not a stable job. It's not as stable as people make it seem to be. And as someone who's had fun employment seasons and as someone who was in corporate, I find that my relationship with my finances and with money is more stable when I'm forced to be 100% responsible for how much money is in my account. And since it being over a year since I've last worked a job, my relationship with discipline has improved because now I do things, I create things, and I do things not because there's a manager that's going to fire me if I don't do it. It's because I want to do it. And I think that in a way, like, I did have this little like roadblock earlier this year where I was like, damn, like I'm stupid, I fumbled that job. But then I realized that like my work ethic is so much different than it was a year ago, because it was kind of like, no shade to anyone that works a corporate job, but like corporate job kind of puts you in a mode of like, you need to dangle the donut to get you to run on the treadmill. I'm going to run on the fucking treadmill because I want to fucking run on the treadmill. That's the difference. And even when I was working a corporate job, it felt like with all the saving, all the time management, it felt like all of my extra resources were just getting put into returning my nervous system to a baseline. Like I'm getting depleted at work and then I'm spending the time after work trying to just get to a baseline. But as a creative, you're not going to create or finish any projects if your nervous system is at a baseline. You usually create from an overflow of energy. Like I want to dance because I have extra energy. I want to write because I have extra energy. And you never have that overflow of energy at your expense because you have to get back to a baseline and then you got to go back to bed to get up for work. Do you know what I'm saying here? Like, and I know this is a long video, but my last point is that corporate, I realized this year that corporate sent me this messaging in my nervous system that like, being safe means performing in inauthentic ways. I must censor myself. I must be inauthentic to be safe in the workplace. I can't be too this. I can't say the wrong thing. I can't do the wrong thing. Obviously, in every office, you have a code of ethics and things like that. But office politics are a very real thing. And the risk of being misunderstood and misread is very high, especially as a Black woman in the office. So I found that when I was working a corporate job, I was always trying to make myself legible to people instead of just being myself. Because if I'm just myself, then I'm aggressive, I'm mean, I'm da-da-da-da-da. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't realize that it was like energetically straining to force myself to be legible to people. I need to be palatable and be understood so that people can tolerate my presence, if that makes sense. So yeah, this was a long video, but the thesis is that corporate jobs give you the illusion of stability and it's not as stable as people make it out to be.
The moment I knew I couldn't go back to traditional employment was when I was scrolling through job sites, trying to figure out my next move. I was doing what you're supposed to do, updating my CV, optimizing my LinkedIn, looking at roles in my field, expanding my search to adjacent industries. And I realized there was not one single job I actually wanted to do. Not one. And it's because the entire structure, the idea of applying for permission to do work someone else defined for a salary someone else determined with autonomy someone else controls, felt fundamentally wrong. And I just couldn't unsee it. So let me give you some context here. I'd spent months on a career break. I'd had time to think without the noise of full-time employment clouding my judgment. I'd done some soul searching and I'd asked myself what I actually wanted from work, not what I thought I should want. And the answer was really clear. I wanted to build something on my own terms. I wanted to work on problems I found interesting with people I chose to work with in a structure that gave me flexibility and autonomy and the ability to scale my income without scaling my hours. And none of the jobs I was looking at offered that. They offered a decent salary. They offered the appearance of career progression, but they didn't offer ownership. They didn't offer real autonomy. They didn't offer the ability to build something that was mine. And once I admitted to myself that I was fundamentally misaligned with the entire employment structure, I couldn't make myself go back. I couldn't physically sit in the interviews and pretend I was excited about the opportunity. I couldn't negotiate salary packages when what I actually wanted wasn't more money. It was a different way of working completely. So I stopped applying and I started building instead. And I'm not going to romanticize it because yes, it was terrifying. Yes, it was filled with uncertainty. And there were months where I questioned whether I'd made the right decision. But the alternative, going back to that structure that I knew was wrong for me, just because it felt safer, that just seemed infinitely worse. Because honestly, in traditional employment, when you know it's not aligned, it gets harder, not easier. Every year you stay, you get more comfortable, you get more financially dependent, you get more embedded in a lifestyle that requires that steady paycheck. And the gap between where you are and where you want to be just keeps getting wider until one day you wake up and you realize you spent decades building someone else's dream because you were too afraid to build your own. And that was the final straw for me. Not just realizing I didn't want any of these jobs, but realizing that if I didn't create my own lane now, I probably never would. So I decided if there's no job I want to apply for, I'll create the work I want to do. If there's no role that's going to give me what I need, I will build the structure that does. And that decision didn't start with a business plan. It started with a question. And that's if I'm not willing to keep applying for jobs that I don't want, what do I already have that I could use to build something of my own? And that was really critical, because it wasn't what should I learn next or what industry should I pivot to. It was, what skills am I already sitting on that could support the life I want to live? Because when you strip employment back to its basics, it's simple. You're solving problems, you're producing outcomes, you're creating value just inside a structure that owns it for you. And once I saw that, I stopped seeing my experience as a CV or a resume and started seeing it as raw material, skills I'd taken for granted, patterns in problems that I naturally solve, ways that I thought or communicated things, ways that I made decisions. Literally being able to pull all of these things from my career capital, that's when building something of my own stopped feeling abstract and started feeling practical. And this is the part most people get stuck on, because they know they don't want to go back. They know that the structure is wrong, but they don't know how to translate what they already have into something viable. And that's exactly why I built the Skills to Income tool. And it's not to push you into entrepreneurship or tell you to quit your job. It's about helping you see clearly what skills you already have, where your leverage actually is, and what income models those skills can support beyond employment. Because the moment you can answer, what could I build with what I already know, you immediately stop feeling like that cloud or that small box of feeling trapped. And once that door opens and you can see the possibilities, it's really hard to close it again. So if you're at a crossroads questioning whether you should go back or take the new job, or you're unsure what forward looks like, the tool is linked in my bio.
I always think it's so interesting when people quit their corporate jobs to like either become a full-time creator or like start their own business. And in the comment section, without a doubt, every single time there will be people saying, I cannot believe you're quitting your job. You have no stability now. The internet could be gone tomorrow, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, you have no stability. Do you think corporate is stable? People are getting laid off left, right, and center. Every single day, there's thousands of people getting laid off. There's no stability within corporations either. And you're silly to think that just because you have a corporate job today, that you'll have that same corporate job tomorrow. I mean, literally look at the job market, literally look at the news, look at how people are getting laid off every other day, and then say, should I shame random people on the internet for quitting their jobs and deciding they want to do something else that's fulfilling them? Or should I mind my business? You know, because that's always an option. It is. But I just think it's interesting, because the same way you can get laid off tomorrow is the same way the internet, yes, can be gone tomorrow, or creators can stop making money the same way that they are, or your business can go bankrupt, or you can run into like a really terrible thing. Like, forget the company letting you go. You could get sick, God forbid, but like you could get sick, and then what? You're still without a job. So it's like, if people want to invest in themselves, invest in a business, invest in their creation and their content and whatnot, then so be it. You go work your 9 to 5, they'll go do their thing. There's nothing wrong with either way. I just always think it's interesting whenever there's someone saying I quit corporate to do X, Y, and Z, there's always people that are like, I can't believe you've done this, you've ruined your life. No, you haven't. You're actually doing just fine. And if you wanted to, you could always go back to corporate. It's not like once you leave, the doors are slammed shut and you're screwed. You're not. Life is literally not that deep. You could do whatever the hell you want. You should take the risks, especially when you're a younger individual. Take the risk. It doesn't even matter. Even if you're 50, take the risk. If shit goes to hell, you have a backup plan. If your parents' house is right there and you can go back to them, you're good. Just take the risk, try it out, see if it happens, see if it works out, and then at least you know. I'm quitting my job today. I work full-time as an analyst, and I don't even know what to say about it. I don't even know where to start, so I'm not even gonna right now, but we're gonna go and quit this job, and I'm gonna celebrate tonight. Like, I don't know. I'm gonna turn in my 2 weeks. I'm not quitting on the spot. I'm gonna turn in my 2 weeks because I'm a decent human being. I don't even think they really deserve this courtesy, but I'm gonna give it to them out of the goodness of my heart. Just leave on a good note on my end. From me to me. That's about it. Let's go quit. Yeah, that was awkward. I should have looked at my calendar before submitting that, and then I just went back to work, you guys. I literally just went back to work like nothing happened and had to go into that team meeting like, hey guys. But I'm so happy I did this. This was the best decision I've ever made in my entire life, and I have so many lessons to teach you guys. You won't even believe it.
I don't know you all, but the rate at which is so many people sharing videos about their layoffs and them getting laid off every time, and then companies reporting about how much thousands of people they're about to lay off or they've laid off already is just so much. Like the stability is just out the window, because generally speaking, just living or working in a place where you're always constantly in fear that you could lose your job, or having, like, in this present day, that's, constant, you can't be relaxed, because you never really know if the layoffs is about to affect you at any time. You just don't know, and then it's like, it's just a scary situation. It doesn't feel comfortable working any job. Working for anybody just doesn't feel comfortable. It just doesn't give you that. I just don't know. Like, I know, yeah, sometimes you can't stress yourself about it every day, because you just got to go on. But sometimes when you start seeing so many people getting laid off, it gets you to a point where you start wondering and looking like, oh, this is really bad. Like, what if this gets to me? Like, because it can happen to anyone. A lot of people have really been sharing, like, many videos about how much they hate corporates, like some of the things that they really hate about corporate jobs. And when it comes to, like, the conversations about the personality changes, where you have to be smiling, faking your personality, and where your coworkers can actually be terrible, so you really have to find a way to put, like, some boundaries with your relationship with them, and they are not your friends. And also, we're trying to get promotions, trying to get some pay increase, backbiting, and so many things that just go on there in the corporate world. It's so much. But I just thought I'd share this videos with you guys. You've made it to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching this video to the very end. Please make sure you click the like button. It helps with the algorithm, and I appreciate that so much. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here and you're watching me for the very first time. Hit the notification bell to get notified every time I post a new video, and leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.